Hi. How are you all doing? I am racing in here like a bat out of hell. It's been so hot today, and I've got little rosy, roasty cheeks. Nice to see the people who are here. Hopefully, some people can pop over from Instagram soon, but I'm delighted that you guys are here. How are you? I'm going to try and lower my heart rate while I begin to get my thoughts in order to tell you more about what's been happening the last few days. So, firstly, hi, Firstly, can you hear me okay? Because my mics that I charged up, my nice Rode mics I'm learning to use, ran out of battery because we've been using them all day long. So if you can hear me okay, Amy, can you hear me okay? You are a good judge of this. Let me know. And I'll try and, okay, perfect. I'll try not to bash things around too much. So welcome. Here's my live stream about the footpaths. Yet, it's not really going to be massively about the footpaths yet. I started on Monday, bank holiday in Cornwall. You would think that it was going to be bananas busy. And actually, the footpaths were really quite quiet. Very few people out and about, even on the coastal path. So we because I was with Bill, started in St. Agnes. And we started at the trig point on the St. Agnes beacon. And I was going to go and did go to Cornwall. So it was supposed to be about maybe 16 miles that day, the route we were taking, heading Bill and I along the coast path from St. Agnes, the beautiful stretch that goes from St. Agnes to Porthtowan to Portreath. And then once we'd finished that part of the coast path, because this 3.5 week adventure is not just about coast path, and the point is that we're inland also with heritage and mining trails. We then took the Bizzo Trail, which is an old mining trail with trackway for moving ore from the mines back and forth, which has been repurposed and is now a cycle path, but also a walking path. So coast path and then inland on the Bizzo Trail. And then we broke off from the Bizzo Trail, Bill and I. Actually, Bill went home halfway through because he was very tired after about 7 miles of being on and off carried. We went then across on the Bizzo Trail. Bill got picked up, and then I went up towards the heartland of the mining community between Lanna and Red Ruth to Cornwall, another huge high point where I could see the beacon miles away where I'd come from earlier that day. It sounds simple in essence. And actually, from the very beginning, because I wasn't on the well-trod footpath that goes along the coast where everyone always goes, from St. Agnes Beacon down, the maps that Robin and I had laid out and put together on OS, some of those routes just didn't exist. And initially it was because things grow over on scrubland and other people take more obvious routes down on common land. But then when I tried to cross some roads and head off on the footpath on the other side of roads, often they'd now be the gateway entrances to houses. And there was no access, private, no access, and a gate across. So I really, within the first 20 minutes, a half an hour, found myself frustratingly searching up and down a busy road, trying to find where perhaps the footpath had been rediverted officially, perhaps where I had missed a sign that had been overgrown, and quickly realizing that actually people were just making it sometimes a little bit difficult to get down the footpath that might go along their own entranceway or trackway for a little while. Hi, Robin. Thanks for coming in. So that was frustrating. Once I'd gotten through that for a bit, I ended up trying to go across a couple of scrub heathlands over the top of some old mine workings, and those pathways had also disappeared. And I made the executive decision not to try and bushwhack through the gorse and the bracken, really because in these old mining communities, there are plenty of not capped workings where you can fall through into disused mined workings, and the ground can break or a sinkhole can open up. So it's not wise to tramp up and down over places where there have been open line workings. So we followed the footpaths that had been established already, deeply established around villages and communities, disappointed on the first day a little bit, and realizing that this whole 3.5 weeks of trying to use lost paths to move around through communities is not going to be as easy as I thought it might be. Um, so getting to Carnmarth was beautiful and fantastic, but it didn't feel as lost and wild and remote as I thought it might. And there are quite a lot of busy roads. Think my hiking has often been West Highland Way, beautiful. Appalachian Trail, stunning, but very far from traffic a lot of the time. The CDT, absolutely far from traffic. And to be on paths through beautiful landscape where you had to keep stopping because cars were streaming past and it's not easy to get across, and with the dog being a little frightened of the traffic, it was sobering. And we understand why now it's easier to jump in the car and go between places than go and walk them, even if it's only a short walk. So that was great. Shakedown hike. I realized I was carrying a few too many things that I didn't need for Bill. It's easier here while he's small to get him picked up by friends or parents who are always phenomenally helpful. If he gets exhausted, rather than try and carry him in a papoose on the front, he's like 9 kilos, 8 kilos, which is quite a lot to carry with the pack on the back, learning a lot about that and carrying his food. I also realized that I needed a few more things that I hadn't got in terms of covering and protection. The sun came out. I didn't think about covering my arms and things. Didn't think the sun would be so warm. But I then camped at Carnmarth on my first night out of the shakedown. And Robin and John, who live locally there, Robin's my amazing apprentice and also does a lot of other things. She's a great illustrator, an amazing jeweler. And John is her fiance, who's also a talented drone operator, very creative, works a lot with yachts as well. So they're an incredibly rounded couple of outdoors people. And they were showing me around Carnmarth, which is like their stomping ground. Fishermen were up there fishing as the sun went down, and I put my tent up with permission from the Carnmarth Trust in the amphitheatre carved into the quarry, where they often have performances. No one disturbed me all night, just beautiful birds swooping, bird song as the sun went down. Bill, first night in a tent. Let me tell you that a 10-month-old puppy for their first night in a tent, they don't rest easily. I thought he might just curl up next to me and snooze the night away every 20 minutes, changing position, cold, too hot, too cold, too fluffy. Oh, was that a fox? Woof, was that a rabbit? So it was a very poor night's sleep, but still a really great, exciting adventure. So day 2 of the actual footpath shakedown was always designed to bring me back to Falmouth, to my home, so that we had those first initial days figuring out what might go wrong for the rest of the route. And Emma's saying she's been editing today, and it made her laugh a lot. And my mum came to join me from Carnmarth in the morning. So it's about a 15-mile walk, 15-mile walk from where we were across towards near Falmouth. We didn't walk all the way to Falmouth, full disclosure, because by the time we got parallel, a little beyond our house, which is here in I'm going to show you the view from my child's pragmatic bedroom. Can you see that view? That's Falmouth down there with St Anthony's Lighthouse in the distance. It's really very pretty. I hope that you could see that, and I didn't just show you the top of the dormer window. Who knows? But it's stunning, and we'd come across so many difficult obstacles from hiking those simple footpaths back to this house that we didn't go to Falmouth. It was very late. We saw, I got quite distressed actually at one part, because we ended up hiking past a little area which included quite a lot of junk and bits and bobs, bric-a-brac lying around, kind of larger, more industrial bits of junk and bric-a-brac, and then some places where people lived, up a lane, and then some really badly treated dogs penned in with a lot of their own shit around them, with barely any room to move in pens and cages, far from anyone's eye who wouldn't be trying to tramp these footpaths and figure footpaths out. So that was really upsetting. That upset me for that really upset me for a while. It still makes me choked up thinking about that and how to deal with that and kind of trying to do something about that. But there are still so many undiscovered little spots for good and for potentially ill, even around our really populated little areas. However, there were some amusing parts and frustrating parts. More footpath issues, very clear footpaths on the map, even the OS maps tracked, not lost paths, hiking across fields, a gate with another gate and a third old rusty gate tied together across, so there's no moving these gates. You cannot get through. So therefore, you have to try and scramble around a different way. Frustrating. My mum is in her early 70s, although you wouldn't know it by looking at her. She's youthful, sprightly, and incredibly fit and healthy and walks ever such a lot. But we're up and down all of these big hedgerows when we should maybe be able to walk the footpath. But the funniest was um, the, there were a number of electric fences to stop people on footpaths going through. And I knew that some of them were electrified, and so did mum. We got to one, muddy, slurry, through a farmyard, walking through cattle and cattle grids and farmyards. We get to one, and mum says, "Oh, this one's not electrified." So under it she goes, and I'm like, "Mum, are you sure? You sure? Careful." And she's like, "Yes, yes, absolutely sure." And it just touched her backpack and she went under. So I reached out and went to grab it. Of course, it's bloody electrified. And I was like, doo-doo. I didn't capture this or send it to Em to edit, because then I swore really loudly at my mum, who just cracked up. I was like, effing jeffing F. And she was like, "Oh no, whoopsie." But also, multiple electric fences over public footpaths. So in 2 days, you can see that there's a number of quite surprising and frustrating obstacles that would put you off. And by the time we double backed and double backed and double backed, we'd done lots more miles than we thought. So we cut across a footpath we know well and left the last 2 or 3 miles into Falmouth that day. That was yesterday. No, that was the day before. So an interesting start. I think I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit for some of the footpaths, especially in areas I don't know so well. The details of the back roads down west. I think I'm going to see some beautiful off the track things when I have to re-navigate myself. It's honing my map skills, and my use of being able to orient myself. But it's not going to be as like, wow, we found this lost path and we're using it, because obviously in these communities we all live in, we would know if they were lost paths and they would then get walked. The fact that they're lost means they're bloody lost. So that's the point of why even I and my, what do I think I'm so special that can find a lost path? But I kind of thought that if they existed and they're on a map, I might be able to find a trace of them, a remnant. Like when in Time Team, when you'd look at the landscape and you'd see, oh, I can see there was a divot there where somebody would have gone through. No, pretty much a lot of the time, nothing. So then the filming started on Wednesday, and what day is it now? Thursday. Okay, 2 days. It's been immense. So the film happened. This plan Robin and I put together about the footpath, and Em has also helped, and AJ. It's a little dream of mine to walk my kind of, sorry for the bing bong, must be it. I just put, my ADHD means I put reminders like every 3 random minutes so I don't forget everything. I was just so excited about being in my home county and exploring it by footpaths through communities. And I guess if you've lived in a big city, like my example would be London, and you used to take the tube to places. And actually, when you get above ground and instead you think, oh, I'm going to walk today because I've got a bit of time, or it's a nice sunny morning, or you get on the bus, suddenly all these elements of London that you've seen by going out for dinner, seeing a show, going to a pub, coming out of a underground station, when you traverse the tapestry above ground, you begin to think, oh my god, that's round the corner from this is connected to that. I didn't know that these were so close together, because in my mind they are disparate places. So that's what I'm discovering in my own back garden, that oh my gosh, I had no idea there was this alleyway that cuts through, and I can connect this place from my childhood with that place where my friend lives. What? Still discovering that on my doorstep. So it's exciting to do that in Cornwall. And then, about a week and a half ago, I was in the local post office posting something. And in front of me, I have to say sorry for Sky. She's a really barky dog next door. If you can hear, I apologise. In front of me was my old friend Melissa, who is an editor and who's worked on lots of great programmes, Big Cat Diaries. I'm just going to close this window, bear with me. That should be helpful. So Big Cat Diaries, etc. And I was chatting to her in the queue, telling her what I was doing. She knows Robin, my apprentice, and she said, "This scale is a great concept. It's a great idea. Let's meet. I think we could make this into a really great short film that maybe we could pitch for a television show, or maybe we could pitch for, some kind of educational stuff, and use it around county. We can make it beautiful for you." So within a week of all of us getting our heads together, we have an amazing cameraman, James, now, and we have an amazing production team on board, and we have John with the drone piloting, and we've interviewed some incredible people in the last couple of days, historians, archaeologists. We've spoken today. I've been in Goon Hilly Earth Station talking about standing underneath satellites that are communicating with spacecraft orbiting Mars. We've been looking at the satellite that beamed the first pictures of the moon landings. I had no idea really of the gravitas of that location, Goon Hilly Earth Satellite Station. It's been there obviously always, and I've driven past it heaps of times. But the fact that that place is now at the cutting edge of space tech blows my mind. We went inside mission control. Bill fell asleep underneath the big maps in mission control because he's had enough. But we were looking at them tracking satellites and spacecraft, and some things they just couldn't tell us. Some things we asked questions. No, we asked about Elon Musk. Can't talk about that. We asked about what kind of spacecraft there were that they were tracking in Mars. We can just call them spacecraft. And I said, how many spacecraft are around Mars? I didn't realize that we declined to put a number. They were really friendly, but there are some secrets, and they know some secrets, and we're not allowed to know the secrets. I did ask about aliens, which may have devalued the entire professional aspect of why I was there. I'm like, so guys, can we go to the chase? Have there been any aliens? And they're like, no. I think they might have been fibbing about the aliens too. So that was really exciting. And obviously, I'm not going to reveal all of the cool stuff that we talked about and we did, because that will be in the film. The truth is out there, Amy. Yes. Because it's going to all be cut together. We've got 2 more days of filming. So what that does mean, though, is that the actual linear following this one footpath for these 4 days has gone tits up, because I had no idea how hard it is to film a proper film. So, I mean, I just got home and pulled this out of my jumper. It's been stuck up. There's a little sticky mic that goes inside. This goes into like the sound pack, Annika Rice style, on the strap around me, or in my waistband. And we have to think about lighting and sound, and I'm not allowed to burp, and obviously I wouldn't do that anyway. And we're going to say this here, and then we're going to interview this person from this angle, and then we're going to go and interview this person from this angle. Then we need a wide shot, then we need a close-up shot, then we need a background, some cutaway shots. I've learned that VO is voiceover, PTC is piece to camera, and then an obdoc, like observational documentary style. I'm learning mind-blowing amounts of stuff in a really short period of time, but it's freaking cool. So we're not passing up this opportunity to do this for these 4 days with these incredibly professional people. And imagine if we were able to get some kind of walking history footpathy TV show commissioned, where I can take my jolly little personality around and chat to local awesome people about their heritage and the coastline, or the landscape they live in and how it shaped how they live their lives, and join dots for people, and help people join dots together about why it looks how it does, why we're where we are, and what it means. And the Goon Hilly thing was so special, because I think what that does is brings that synergy of cutting edge space technology. Cutting edge space technology doesn't work in opposition with looking at our heritage and history and conservation, and we don't have to live neolithically or historically medievally with our lifestyle to preserve that. Not that we would, and I know that's a superlative and exaggeration, but we can join the space tech and the historical kind of preservation and the environmental considerations together by using that tech to see where we can save parts, where we can bring history to light, where we can preserve stuff. And actually, Goon Hilly the satellite Earth station is in smack bang in an area of outstanding natural beauty, which is highly preserved, full of barrows, standing stones, Iron Age, Bronze Age workings. So to have that futuristic tech smack in the middle of that waste kind of scrubland is amazing. Yeah, and there was loads of World War II stuff we talked about where Eisenhower stayed. We took ferries across rivers. It's going to be a doozy. But of course, that means that time is taken up in the day. It makes it really hard to carry on this linear walking and get all of the mileage in. So in the last day, I was still trying to do both those things. So in the last day, I've definitely made peace with the fact that I'm not going to get all those miles in. And I'm not a purist, as I've said many times before. But we are doing a long walk tomorrow, just myself and the cameraman all around the Lizard Peninsula. And that feels really authentic. It's all been authentic, but I just haven't got the distance and joined up all of those dots of footpaths. I'm not going to let it worry me. I've walked those trails lots of times and I've shared them before, and I can go back and share them again. So the next 2 days will be filming, and then I will probably pick up on Sunday, my footpath proper, just by myself for the next 3 weeks, or maybe 2.5 weeks, which will lead me from around kind of Porthleven area, all around the West Penwith, the pilgrimage, St Michael's Way, joining north-south, north coast to south coast, then back up and around the north coast again, traversing through more mining works, and up towards Heligan Gardens, across to the Roseland Peninsula, and then up through that direction. So there's going to be plenty of glorious things to share. And these few days have gone a bit off piece, but in the best possible way. Bill's been great. Sounds like Bill might be trying to get up the attic stairs, which would not be good. But Bill has been fantastic. It's great to not make him walk too far. And I think really that, oh, hold on a sec. Hi.
Oh, yeah,
It's my mama. Thanks, Ma. She's a blimmin' legend, even though I did swear at her with the electric fence. Sorry about the electric fence. Sorry I swore at you with the electric fence. She's like, haven't forgiven you. No, she has really. Yeah, so there we go. I'm really hot and bothered, sunny today, but it was great. It's made me think, would I like to be a presenter on the TV? Yeah, I think I would. I mean, it's hard work. We put it together in such a short amount of time that making sure I'm saying everything that joins together is quite challenging. But yeah, I think I would love it. I think it's something that's super fun. And it's really nice to be able to talk to people and share their stories on camera. I'm glad, though, I'm going to come back here on Saturday night. It's Flora Day, Helston Flora Day. If you don't know what that is, look it up because it's awesome. It's lots of dancing around the village of Helston, which is a really important stannery town in Cornwall historically. Dancing, carousing, drinking, and fun. And I'm going to come back here or to my caravan on that night and make sure I have all of my ducks in a row, park the filming in my head, repack my bag for my proper hike, so I know that I don't need to worry about paperwork or this bit of information and that bit of research, and I can just hike, share, film, make YouTube videos as I go, and share my stories like I did in the past on the Southwest Coast Path. And I'm so glad I'm still doing that Zenery part, the Southwest, the fully West Peninsula, which is glorious, because even though I want to do it in land trails, that part of the coast is flipping amazing. I've been so immersed, I've forgotten kind of about the rest of my life stuff. So my retreat, which is coming up, I need to talk about publicly. Already 8 places have gone from the maybe 18 that there are available without me even publicly talking about it, because of word of mouth from the success of the last one and a little list of people who said they'd love to know about it before it goes public, who I asked on Instagram. So that's so exciting that initiative that I put together, that those people that came, it worked so well that it's going to fly again, I think. And we've just taken on an incredible property, Calamansack House, a private estate with 2 private beaches and 50 acres for a few days in October for another different kind of retreat. Imagine our own private beaches to go and swim at dawn in, and huge lawns for yoga and kind of talking, giving talks, playing with hiking gear and kit, and exploring the beautiful Halford Peninsula. So that's what I've been doing. I mean, I'm not able to share with you loads of new tales of lost paths, which was kind of my goal, because that hasn't been the case. And even for the filming for this Lost Paths short film, we have come up a cropper with Lost Paths. They've been co-opted into people's private gardens with no entry signs. Also, we had a bit of an incident with an Amazon Prime driver in this tiny, tiny village of Helford. He was screaming up and down because he was lost, kind of screeching brakes. And then he stuck his middle finger. We looked at him with a little bit of disgust because he was driving so dangerously in this tiny, quiet, kind of no-through way village, teeny tiny village in the creek. And when he saw that we were looking at him a little bit crossly, he stuck his finger out of the van, flipped the bird, and shouted across the creek, "Oh, you!" And then he screamed around to the other side, screeched to a halt in front of us, and said, "What is your problem?" and came out of the van right up to us and shouting at me. So I said, "Well, you're being very rude, very loudly, and this is a very quiet little village." And he didn't know what to say. So he turned on his heel and screeched up the hill in his Amazon Prime van, which is not cool. Luckily, we might have got that on film. So I don't want to ruin someone's life, but I just don't think it's very nice to be behaving like that. So I'll probably forget about that by tomorrow. I won't do anything about it, but it wasn't nice. Okay, so I'm going to see if there are any questions. There might not be any questions because I haven't really given you anything to question me about, but it's really nice to hop on here and chat to you. Let the numbers go up a bit, they go down a bit. I was so busy I did not give this proper lead-in time from Instagram. I didn't properly direct people here yesterday, which I should have done, but I will, because next week it'll just be me and Bill and I, grammatically. It'll just be Bill and I trotting around, so I'll have plenty of time to chat on Instagram and to share these things. So highlights are Goonhilly Earth Station, Mars spacecraft, not the Amazon driver. Lost Paths are hard to find. I gripped an electric fence with some force and swore a lot, and did a commando crawl in cowpats to get underneath another one. And that we're making a short film, then that's exciting, and that life is good, and that even when you're face down in some cowpats, you still just got to laugh about it. And that's a little metaphor for life I'm going to leave you with. Unless there are any questions. No questions. Okay. Sending you heaps of love. The commando crawl is on film. And I've got that super hot. You can't see on the screen how warm I am. That the sun has been beating down. Oh yeah, we've got Tin Miners to interview too. That's going to be exciting. And some people who are related in generations of wreckers, shipwreckers in Cornwall, and have smugglers and pirates in their lineage. So we've got some really cool people to interview lines coming up that Robin has organised and we've made contact with. The hardest people of all to get in touch with, to have a conversation with, are the National Trust. So still working on some things with them. Let's see what we can turn up. And in the meantime, much love. Thank you for coming on and saying hi. And I will be here next Thursday doing the same thing, and I will give you much more warning. Any questions that you would like, if you watch this back, if you're watching this later, hi, hope whatever time of day it is that you've had a really good day too, or having a great evening, or good morning, all of those things. If something strikes you, or you have a comment, a piece of advice, a question, a thought, you can send me a message on Instagram to my messages, that's great, or to gonehiking@gailmuller.com on the website. I really love to hear from you. Super genuinely would love to hear from you, all of your thoughts and questions. So thank you again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this gloriously sunny evening. I'm going to have a piece of toast and peanut butter and a cup of tea before I sort out planning the routes and what I'm going to say tomorrow on film. All right, good night, thank you, and lots of love. Lovely to see you.